Welcome to Christians Against Religion. I'm Steve.
And I'm Ethan.
And we are Christians Against Religion hosts.
There we go. We're finally getting somewhere. And in light of me and Steve's recent adventures, today's episode has blossomed out of our imagination.
It's called Evolution is Real, probably.
Yeah, we haven't decided on a title. So a few weeks ago, me and Steve went out to Kemmerer, Wyoming, which I highly recommend going to. Actually, I take that back because I don't want y'all to take all the fossils from us when we go back. And we went out there to American Fossils. Highly recommend them. And
go to Iowa. You'll find lots of fossils there. Stay away from Wyoming. And nobody goes.
Okay, so we went there, splitting rocks open, found more fish than we knew what to do with, and yet we took all of them home. And so it got us thinking about this topic of evolution, which we talked about on Christian Anarchy Today. And so we decided to talk about it today. Something that Christians are very divergent on a lot of times.
Yes, indeed. We've all heard the young Earth creationists that say dinosaurs are a myth. LOL, you're dinosaurs. They're just recreated by scientists.
Well, a lot of them say dinosaurs existed.
Really?
They were on the ark.
Oh, but
that's what Ken Ham would say.
I don't know. I think there's a TikTok chick.
That's your first problem with what you're saying.
That was making videos about how dinosaur fossils are fake or something. She's like, they're just putting random bones together and making a piece of art or something.
A piece of art?
Yeah,
I can't say I found a dinosaur fossil, but we found fish fossils. I found trilobites.
Yeah, and I assure you, I did not put anything together.
Yeah. Steve spent 30 minutes splitting one giant 200-pound rock.
Oh, gosh. Oh, my back's
It may have been heavier than that.
I'm still peeling from the sun, and my body was sore for like over a week.
Yeah, I'm in better shape than Steve, so it was only 2 days from me.
Yeah. Well, not all of us can be with Ethan's physique over here. His peak physical strength.
No, it has to do with
endurance.
I went after all the small rocks, and he went after all the giant rocks that are bigger than the size of this table.
Yeah, well, I figured there's more opportunities to find stuff in there. I don't know.
Fair enough.
Figured if there was something big out there, it'd got to be a giant rock, right?
Yeah, well, maybe next time we'll find something big. But
yeah,
but it is interesting, right? Because Christians are get really angry about this issue a lot of times. Like last time we did it was more controversial than any of our other episodes.
Yeah,
I've never seen so many people mad at
even the one when we talked about butt sex. See?
No, everyone complimented that episode.
Everyone loved us.
Yeah, they said that was the funniest episode I've ever seen. But
no, evolution.
Yeah. Reason being is if you think of the Bible as literal word for word, it can change a lot of things about how you view creation, obviously, right? And I don't know why that would specifically ruin everything for you, right? But they look at it more of as a cradle of the faith, right? Because of I had someone point out to me in the comments one time that you can't understand Romans chapter 5 with evolution because it says by death came through one man, Adam, and life comes through one man, Jesus, right? And so in a lot of areas it changes a lot of things for people.
Yeah, I guess, but I mean, it's just, I think always we have to, think about why we believe things and what, is this most likely to be true or is it not? Is it just something that I'm kind of going along with because I haven't thought about it? And I think a lot of the times with stuff like, evolution or young Earth creationism, whichever side you fall on, like, you need to re-examine your beliefs all the time, I think. And this is no different. So a lot of times with the young Earth creationists, I feel like most of them have just been taught that and just sort of go along with it and defend it like crazy, even though I just don't think they have a flexibility in their beliefs on that.
Yeah.
If young Earth creationism is true, cool, then it's true. But I mean, I think we should always look for what's true and. Look where the evidence is. Look what convinces you. You know,
and that's what I was about to say. The evidence is vitally important. I mean, it was either last week or the week before. You and I were talking about how our faith is based off of faith, right? I mean, but evidence is very important in this regards, whether it comes to our faith being true or not, the life of Jesus, our doctrinal beliefs in the Bible. It is very, very important, right? And so with the whole evolution issue, I don't even consider using the Bible as a resource on it, because I don't.
Not a science book.
Yeah, so. because the Bible's whole purpose is not even to deal with that. I mean, notice how the creation story of Genesis chapter 1 is different than the Genesis story of Genesis chapter 2. Why? Because Moses wasn't writing a word for word, this is how the world was created. He was examining God's character, his creative power, and his relationship to us, right?
It's about the relationship with, people of Israel. Mm-hmm. So,
and instead of the Jewish work week.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I think, what was I going to say? Something to consider too when you're thinking about these things, whether it's evolution specifically or any other scientific thing that is observed in the world, is a different mindset of, okay, I wonder how God worked through this, or I wonder how God uses this science for his purposes. So you at least be, what's the word? Inquisitive, and be grateful and in awe of how awesome science can be and how God set up this world and this universe with science. So with evolution, I mean, there's many ways that it can make it work, but what are you scared of? Finding the truth, and then you just found out a way that God has set things up. I mean, I don't know. Like, okay, evolution happened. Well, I wonder how God works through evolution then. I wonder how that fits in with everything. It's not like evolution is true, then God's not real. Yeah, like that's just painting yourself into a corner that doesn't need to happen.
Yeah, and atheists paint it that way too. A lot of them.
But that's because Christians have been so dogmatic on those issues for so long, and have used it as what they place their whole faith on, which I think is a misplacement of beliefs.
Yeah, and it also comes from the a lot of the New Age atheists wanting to use science as a combatant to religion, as if the two are contradictory, which leads into your point. But it also makes me question of like people like Ken Ham, who spend so much time on this question, right? Whereas if you were to give that much effort into just preaching Christ crucified, how much better would that be, instead of preaching the earth is 6,000 years old? I mean, we're dedicating one episode to evolution, whereas all these other episodes are talking about what Christ has done, what Christ's finished work, what the gospel is, like, and examining issues surrounding that, right?
Yeah.
And so it's not to hate on him being passionate on the topic. It is to think about, if Christians were to give this much effort into saying Christ rose from the dead, your sins are forgiven, repent and believe in him, how much better would we be at sharing the good news? How many more people will be coming to the faith if we were to just do that? But we're so busy focusing on something like evolution.
Yeah, and that's true for a lot of different issues that Christians today, I don't know, freak out about or focus all their energy on, when it's like, do we really need to spend this much effort on it, or can we just move past it and talk about what really matters? You know, I mean, it's good to have discussions like it every once in a while for stuff like this. That's why we're doing a whole show about it. But it shouldn't be your whole identity is placing it on young earth creationism or whatever. And if that's what you really believe, then sure, mention it a lot. I don't care, but I think you're going to find yourself not focusing on the stuff that matters, like you said.
Yeah.
So.
And I do want to deal with...
And it's just so flimsy, too.
Yeah. I mean, young earth creationism, when you really examine it through both sides, not just what the Christian scientists are telling you, well, young earth Christian scientists, but through both sides.
Young earth Christian scientists?
There are
scientists.
Yeah,
is that more?
Yeah,
like
someone's gonna get offended by you saying that, man. But I mean,
it's like flat Earth scientists.
Yeah, I mean they have PhDs, so they're doing something. Some of them do, very small minority. But I mean, when you examine both arguments, and I say this as someone that was a blatant young Earth creationist. I mean, I remember being in 6th grade and my teacher put at the end of a test, what would you like to learn about in the rest of the year? And I said, and I put evolution because I don't believe in it. and I was serious, and I had the arguments. I had everything, blood cells from a T-Rex leg and all that. I had all the arguments, right? And then it came to a crisis point because I love fossils. I've been collecting them since I was in 4th grade. Mm-hmm. So how do I match all this life that is sealed up in rocks? How do I match that with what the literal 7-day creation period is saying?
Yeah.
And I could not. And it almost created a faith crisis in me because the thing is, it was evolution versus Christianity instead of evolution versus young earth creationism.
Yeah.
And that is a mistake that we keep making, and it is making a lot of young people leave the church because we're not being serious about this stuff.
Yeah. And by the way, if you're out there and you believe in young earth creationism, that's totally fine. I mean, we all have freedom in Christ, and we all believe different things, mm-hmm. but we're specifically focusing on this because, one, we don't believe in young earth creationism, I don't think. We both believe in evolution. And two, we're just here to represent that view because it's the less commonly held view, especially for people that are not Christians that are watching, to understand that there are definitely Christians out there that you don't have to believe in young earth creationism to be a Christian. So that's partially why we're discussing it this way. But when I was a little kid too, I wanted to be a paleontologist. That was my my dream career when I was in 1st grade in kindergarten. And then I had a friend that was really into fossils and stuff too, and he was the opposite, all science, evolution, different from my upbringing, which was evangelical Christian boy. So, and that's young earth creationism, evolution is a myth, that sort of thing. So I didn't really know how to deal with those two views, but I knew I loved fossils and kept collecting them, but I didn't really think of what the implications of that was.
Yeah, and so
until after I didn't care about fossils anymore.
Yeah.
I still love fossils now, but you know what I mean.
Steve was highly surprised that there was going to be a bunch of fish there. I said, Steve,
there's a lot.
Yeah. I said, Steve, there's going to be more than what you could do with.
My entire table was filled with fish fossils, and then I even kept breaking them open further because they were so thick that I found a bunch of bonus fish too. So in my apartment, so I just put them up.
Did you find any complete ones from the split ones?
I think I found 1 or 2, but I found some really big ones that were of course, cut off. I was so sad.
I spent about 2 hours prepping that one really massive one, and I'm still not done.
Yeah,
I'm still not done with it. But I want to get to the argument, the central young earth creationist argument for fossilization, and that is the flood.
It fossilized everything?
Yeah. Because waters move a lot, because water has the most immense geological power of anything else besides of course volcanoes and stuff, but the water moves sediment and all that, and the immense pressure from 5 miles of water being in certain places would crush it and turn it into a fossil. And so that's the main explanation that I know for fossils. Now, there's a huge problem with this, and that is the fact that fossil layers are organized. You will never find mixing of fossils. What do I mean by that? Is that if you go down to Delta, Utah, you can go trilobite fossil hunting down there, and you will never, ever find a fish in those layers.
Because they're different.
They're different layers of time.
Different layers of time.
Yes.
Right. That makes sense.
I've been out there. I've got probably 100 fossils from there. No fish. All trilobites. There's thousands of people that go there. If you were to find a fish,
Yeah, we went looking for fish and we didn't find a single trilobite.
Yeah,
So
see,
same way.
exactly. You only find things that exist in that area.
I kept telling him I wanted to find a pterodactyl. He's like, "That's the wrong time period."
Yeah,
bro."
wrong time period.
Yeah.
You will not find any
I
dinosaurs.
believe I can find one.
Or,
didn't find
interestingly enough, you have people like I forgot the guy's name, Jack Horner. I think that's his name. He's a paleontologist who are recreating dinosaurs, not by like how in Jurassic Park they have the amber and they take the blood out. Not by that method.
Imagine
but-
if that movie got it exactly right, and that's like all it took to
That would be
make
so cool.
dinosaurs.
But unfortunately, DNA degrades way too fast.
That'd be funny.
But he's used chicken DNA and has been able to give them snouts and teeth, and is working on giving them a tail because that DNA still exists in modern day chickens because they're direct descendants from dinosaurs.
Interesting.
I mean, these are experiments that are being done in real time, right? So there's no mixing in the fossils. This stuff still exists in modern day descendants of DNA. You know, so like there's places in Kemmerer, Wyoming, where they found three-toed horses. Notice you don't have any of those around anymore.
Oh yeah, I had one as a pet. His name was Bigsby.
Yeah.
Bigsby the three-toed horse. This is my favorite pet I've ever had.
You're different, Steve. But you do have similar creatures. Like there's been birds found. There's been ancient types of bats. But there are huge differences in those than from ones today, right? And so you have no case with that. I mean, either God is playing tricks by let's organize the fossils randomly, because floods don't organize. They just mix things together. If you look at flood sites that have created fossils over millions and millions of years, the bones are all mixed up. There's no organization. Floods do absolutely no organizing. And so that's the main objection to the flood argument. Outside of all the carbon dating and everything else, object to all that. That is the number one argument I have against it.
Well, I'll just say this. I mean, the argument I think people would go to in the comment section, possibly, I don't know, we'll find out soon enough, but is that science can't trust it because it's always changing. But I don't think our views on things are always changing anyways, or they should be. So science goes to figure out what the truth is, and if we believed something in the past that we found, actually that's not the case, go with that. I mean, we might be wrong about, science is going to be wrong about what it believes on certain things now, but that's fine. It's not scary. You
go by the evidence presented.
Yeah. I mean, and just keep an open mind with this stuff. Like, the problem happens when we get dogmatic on these issues and we're not willing to change, and then that's what weak faith kind of looks like.
Yeah. I do get concerned about misrepresentation, because every single young earth creationist, I'm not saying that it's everybody, but every single young earth creationist I've had a discussion with about this misrepresents what evolutionists are saying, right? Or they misrepresent the actual science, right? So have you ever heard the missing links argument?
You can't see the change between a fish to a bird or something. You can't see
you can't see like
inter species.
So let's take how
I went to a private high school, and that's what my biology teacher was arguing for.
Really?
That missing link thing.
Interesting. So let's just take a lizard transitioning to a T-Rex, right? They would say you would never see like a lizard that's like half of a lizard but half of a T-Rex, right? Something like that. I know that's bad, so don't comment on it, but it's kind of like that. There's no like intermingling, right? And I hear that all the time.
What was the argument against it?
that every single fossil is a transitional fossil in and of itself. You're looking at a picture, right? And it's kind of like how if you and I stay friends for the next 20 years, I'm not going to see you age, right? I'm not going to notice how you've aged, you know?
I hope nobody sees me age.
And then also less than 1% of life has ever been preserved, and we do have transitional fossils. The most famous one is basically the first type of bird, but it's like almost a dinosaur but a bird, right?
Yeah, something to keep in mind for that argument is that we have a lot of stuff that we have not discovered and can't figure out because it gets destroyed over time. You know, there's stuff that the stuff that we do find is a miracle that we can see it, and the stuff that we don't, well, we can't. There's no way to get back to it. So
most places don't preserve fossils. They really don't. I mean, places like where we went to,
we just had a bunch of broken ones. So
yeah,
it happens.
I mean, but the place we went to is a natural wonder. There's only a few places like that. I mean, there are so few private quarries in the United States, and the area where we went to, the profitable amount, not the amount of fossil layers. The fossil layers extend 2,000 feet, but like the amount where you can find a lot of good stuff is only 20-30 feet of ground, maybe up to 100. Like, it's not much. So it's a miracle that we have it. And there's 3 big lakes there, and if you go to the other lakes, you can't find that many fish, even though there were fish there.
Green River Formation?
Yeah, the Green River Formation, you can find the most fish, but the other ones you can find some bugs, plant material, but you can't really find fish. Every once in a while you can, but it just doesn't preserve.
Yeah, no, you should see how fragile they are too. Like, the ones that we have, like, if you blow on it, stuff flies away and you lose it. Like, I made the mistake on a couple of them. I'm going, and then it's like, I was like, oh crap.
Yeah, I've made that mistake when chipping away at the bone, and like half the fish will fly off. Yeah, it's so annoying. But
so they're very delicate, and yeah, it's just amazing that we can see what we can see. So
yeah, and it's just a snapshot in time. And even when you're peeling back the layers, that a piece of rock that thick could have 3 fish on it because it's so thin. It is so thin, and you can't see any of it. I mean, the stuff that we say we know is so limited of a view, and that's why, especially with prehistory science and paleontology, it changes so much.
Yeah, because we're always learning new things.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. We found 700 different types of dinosaur species. Isn't that amazing? But that's over 160 million year time period, right? Think about the millions upon millions of species on Earth we have today. How many were missing just from that time period, right?
Yeah, plus they're finding new species of stuff
every year,
all the time, like
dozens and dozens,
bugs and things that they didn't believe exist or didn't know existed, and they're finding them. Yeah, which is crazy. That stuff's living. That stuff's around. Like, you can see one.
Yeah.
Not to mention fossils, animals that don't exist anymore. So I don't know.
It's quite amazing stuff. Young Earth creationism fails to explain it. And again, notice we haven't mentioned any dating methods. Because, you can say,
I don't know enough about the science of it all. Ethan's our fossil expert here. I just like it.
I know a little bit about it. I don't know how you actually do it, but I know a little bit. But just throw that out. This is stuff that you can go out and see yourself, because we've done it, right? And so in terms of
there's a Christians Against Religion work outing.
We've done the field research.
Minus Jesse. He was
4 hours of it. Yeah. Jesse said he'll come if he can make some money.
Yeah, nah, dude. Y'all go. I don't care.
But just going to the transitional fossil thing, you're looking at a snapshot. So the reason the fossils are so good there is, and you can actually see it. You could see it, a volcanic layer above the most fossil-rich ground, right? And of course, there's fossils on that because there's several volcanic layers, and these mass deaths of things, and there's certain layers that have the most fossils because of that, right? So it wasn't the flood, because you can look at the volcanic ash layer. If you go down and you look at Chicxulub, Mexico, and you fly over it, you'll notice that there is a crater that is hundreds of miles wide. And that is still there from when it killed the dinosaurs. And it turns out, if you go to the layer...
Is that where it was? In Mexico?
Mm-hmm. In southern Mexico. Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta go to Mexico. Check out that dinosaur killing thing.
You wouldn't even be able to notice it, actually. It's so big. But if you look at the geological layer from that time period, there is a very, very rare element that found on Earth that's in high abundance there. And coincidentally, it's common in asteroids, right? And so either we had a massive asteroid impact that healed the Earth, and that the Earth got healed from magically in 6,000 years, or we can believe modern science, and that's what killed off the dinosaurs 66 million years ago. I don't know what else to tell you. Either God is playing tricks on us, or evolution's true.
Yeah. Plus, I mean, if it turns out the world is 6,000 years old or whatever, the science should figure it out eventually. So, I don't know. Fund some research on that, but yeah, I just don't think that the evidence holds up. But again, if that's what you believe, go for it. More power to you.
Yeah, I mean,
but as a Christian, you don't have to. Let's be clear on that.
Yeah, it's all, and for me, the reason I'm impassioned by it is, one, I see the effects that it has on people my age, because it makes us look really dumb a lot of times when we refuse to think and let the science speak for itself, right? Notice you can find no scientific evidence that God doesn't exist, or that we need no God, right? In fact, the more science comes out, the more it seems like God is necessary, right? Even though most scientists are atheists. And so I don't think it's the right method to demonize science. I think it reveals how neatly crafted God has made his creation. Even with DNA absolutely supports evolution, but it absolutely supports creationism too. Yeah, because you take a DNA of a human and a chimpanzee, there's only a few letters of difference, and then with the monkey it's a few letters more, and then with the rat it's a bunch of letters more. You at the Natural History Museum of Utah, you can go there and you can actually look at the DNA strand, and it shows you, and you're like, man, everything is almost the same until the last little bit, right? But that same DNA strand we can use for creationism, because we can talk about how even something as simple as an amoeba has 1,000 encyclopedias full of information. That's not according to a Christian, that's according to Richard Dawkins, right? And that really testifies to the glory of God, because we're able to see this stuff and none of us will be able to comprehend it, right. But just let the evidence speak for itself, and that's the only recommendation I can make.
Yeah, and just like questioning your own beliefs, feel free to question science. That's what it's there. That's what scientists do. They question, they argue. You should see a lot of the scientific debates. People get heated, just like religious people. Yeah. So
it's exactly like that.
So yeah, I mean, we're all searching for truth. So just be honest about it and keep an open mind. And at the end of the day, we all believe what in our minds is most likely. So yeah, no one can decide that for you but you. But yeah, just keep an open mind, and Christians can be evolutionists. Yeah, is that what it's called? Evolutionists.
Yeah, I don't know. So just take time to examine yourself as we do. Before you comment or anything, just do the research, please. And don't just pull from Answers in Genesis and Ken Ham and all that. Look at what the atheists are saying too, as well as people like Francis Collins, who is a very good Christian man, and yet and still is one of the greatest genetic scientists in the country, and absolutely believes in evolution. Check both sides, and then let the Spirit lead, and that's the only advice I can give.
Yep. Well, we're here again at the end of the episode. You're here, we're here, and you know what we're going to say. Go to cult.love for all things love and faith related.
And cult related, apparently.
And cult, yeah. And freedom in Christ related. And yeah, just become a member. We will eventually be on there only.
They keep saying it. I'll wait a minute.
We'll see. But make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Share the podcast with people if you think it's interesting. And we love you.
Take care, you guys. We'll see you next week.